Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Leesburg. My name is Layla, and our friend Tamara is taking the day off for a well-deserved vacation. Our theme for this year is Living Everyday Wonder, as you know, and this month our focus is body. The title of our talk today is The One Body, given by our wonderful spiritual director, Charlene Banks. We are so very glad that you've joined us today, and please feel free to add to the chat or in the comments any prayer requests or celebrations that you would like to have included later in the service when we provide our community spiritual mind treatment, which is a form of affirmative prayer. We invite you to get comfortable and relax into this moment as we will begin our service.
Please join us as we create our sacred space. We set our intentions of deepening into our awareness and practice of our 5 pillars of spiritual living by lighting this candle in our virtual world. Our first pillar is sacred study, represented by the divine quality of truth. We use this pillar to recognize the importance of an open mind and the power of our minds. The second pillar is affirmative prayer, represented by the divine quality power. This pillar honors the power of prayer in our daily lives. Our third pillar is meditation and the divine quality of peace. This pillar reminds us of the importance of meditation and the peace we feel when we quiet our minds. The fourth pillar is circulation and the divine quality of life. We know that the great law of circulation works in our lives. As we give, so shall we receive. And the fifth pillar is sacred service and the divine quality of love. This pillar affirms our call to be of service to our world as we see through the eyes of love. Let us close our eyes as we bless this sacred space and our time together. As we weave each of these pillars of spiritual living into our service today, may they deepen our own spiritual practices of study, prayer, meditation, circulation, and service, expanding our minds and our hearts to the 5 divine qualities of truth, power, peace, life, and love. We also bless everyone who made our service possible today and everyone in attendance. May the energy of love that is generated here bless everyone abundantly, and so it is.
Yes, and so it is indeed. So good morning and welcome to our service. Thank you, Layla, for such a beautiful opening. And I figured what I would do today. I'm going to start with a talk, and then in the middle towards the end, we're going to do a practice that I'm going to talk about first. And so it has, I want to say 3 points to it. The reason I'm doing it this way. My first point is that we all know all the events that happened the last week, and it would be spiritual malpractice if I were to get on here and just act like it's all fine. Everything's just like it was last week. It's not. It's a little different. Our energies are feeling a little wobbly. And so I have something to say about that. The second reason is because we have a teaching, and of course this title, The One Body, we have a teaching that we are each individually expressions of the one. We are part of the one, and we are not only part of it, but we could never be separate from the divine oneness, the ground of all beingness. We can't be separate. And so since that's true, the third thing is in our teaching, we understand our teaching. Ernest Holmes founded the science of mind. He was reluctant to do so. He was like, I don't want to start a whole religion. Religion's the problem. And then they told him, Ernest, if you don't formalize your teaching, it's going to die with you. And they pointed at other people who didn't do the formalization of his teachings, and it died with them. So in this teaching, we teach that there are three. There's a triune nature, just like the Catholics might teach the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. It's not exactly that in this teaching, but the triune nature has three sections, much like a triangle. And I've mentioned before how the triangle is the most stable structure, but it's also subject to its weakest edge. Whichever edge is weakest, then is a way to breach the whole system. Think of a three-legged stool. Each of the three legs provides the balance. And if one of those legs is not quite long enough, then you feel a little wobbly. The three parts that Ernest Holmes identified and that we teach now in Science of Mind and Spirit is that you have three sections in this creative process. We are spirit. We each are spirit, but we're not just spirit. We're also soul, but we're not just that. We have also a body. So you have your spirit, your soul, and your body, which downward causation means that sometimes we can just get an inspiration from the divine and we just allow it to inspire us from our crown chakra all the way down into our bodies. And it just sort of, it imbues us with this energy and we can now do the thing that we're inspired to do. We've all been there, right? You've been in the zone and you felt inspired and you went out, you got up out of whatever meditation or prayer and you felt like you could conquer the world. There's another kind of causation that's upward, that sometimes our bodies speak to us from the bottom up, if you think about it. And that's when we have intuition that is from our surroundings. We're feeling around ourselves and our bodies are the first to figure it out. We get that tingle, that spidey sense. We get the hairs on the back of our neck that stand up and go, oh. And then, so that is the idea that we're working with. Now, before we get into any of that though, I would like to play a special meditation, and that will get us anchored into where we're going today on our journey. This meditation is done by the fabulous Layla, and it's a Buddhist meditation accompanied by some drums. And I know that you'll enjoy this. It'll set the tone that we need before we go into our talk. And then we go into the experiential meditation toward the end of this talk. So let me go ahead and share again. Yes, that just hits the spot. That was beautiful, Layla. Thank you. I love the way it ended too, with the clouds just blowing. May all of us be free. May all of us feel peace. The Buddhist chant that just reminds us this, we have this well-beingness that we wish upon not only ourselves, but for every single being on this planet. So that was just beautiful. And it really sets the tone. So the body is our instrument that the divine has imbued us. I mean, we're here on purpose. There's a quote Ernest Holmes said. I'm going to find it and say it to you. I don't want to mess it up. So if the spirit or divine intelligence has seen fit to give us a physical body, it would be absurd to think of the body as an illusion unworthy of our attention. Rather, we should think of the body as a spiritual instrument now. I'll say it again. If the spirit or divine intelligence has seen fit to give us a physical body, it would be absurd to think of the body as an illusion unworthy of our attention. Rather, we should think of the body as a spiritual instrument now. A spiritual instrument. How is the divine talking to us? Our bodies have that, as I was saying before, that spidey sense. There's a sense that we have. If we could go into our bodies and connect with it and then listen, we'll be able to hear and feel and know more. It is our divine instrument. It is our divining rod. It tells us if we're going down the right track or not. There's a story of a young woman who just got out of nursing school. This young woman had been trained that the nurses, okay, first of all, she works in the ICU, and she was trained that there's a thing known as nursing intuition. So this intuition, they taught her in school, was given as much attention as the measurable machines and the beeping monitors that you see in the room of a patient in the ICU. And I cannot help but think of my nephew Cootie when I'm talking about this. I just get chills. So there's a lot of machines, everything's hooked up, yet the nurse's intuition is relied upon by the doctors just as much as that screen output. One night, she's at work. As she assessed her patient and surveyed the room, something just felt wrong. She felt a little queasy, a little stiff. Her gut was telling her something was off. She couldn't put her finger on it. The most recent labs looked okay. The vital signs on the monitors were beeping with all the right parameters. The patient's assessment didn't show anything deeply outside of the expected findings, given that he was in the ICU. However, this nurse was still kind of like, So she spoke to the other doctors, so the other nurses and the doctor, and she said, something's not right. I can feel it. So they stuck around. Within hours, the patient went from stable to critical. His blood pressure dropped drastically. His lungs started to decline. His heart rate got very high because she had listened to her gut. Those doctors and those nurses had stayed nearby. And instead of a dramatic, long, drawn-out response, the team was on it. They responded immediately. They had already started running tests before this happened, and they immediately jumped right in. New medications were ordered to stabilize the patient. And even though it took a few minutes, and it looked like he might go into cardiac arrest, he never did. He never went all the way into cardiac arrest because the medical team was able to react quickly to the moment because they had been inspired by that nurse. They knew to trust that gut feeling. My question to you, as I get chills reading you this whole story, is that we are so much more connected than we give credence to. We are part of a body of the divine. In fact, I like to think of each and every one of us as different cells that are all operating inside the same organism. I'm a cell, you're a cell, we're all different parts of the same bigger organism. And we communicate with each other in a way that's not even documented. There's things that we know and we don't know why we know. We have this insight, intuition, this inspiration to either do or don't do something. And we can't tell you where that came from. But I can say that in my own personal life, there have been many times where I've acted upon my intuition to my great success, and there's times I did not act on my intuition to my great dismay. And I'm learning as I get older, just do the thing that you know you have to do. Let's not fight or look for reasons, or the best reason I ever had for ignoring my intuition was, oh, but it feels good. Let's just keep doing this. I mean, what could go wrong? A lot can go wrong if you don't listen to your intuition. And so the body is sometimes the first place that gets those signals about our surroundings. As long as we don't cut ourselves off from it and value our mental thoughts more than our physical sensations, we need to treat them both the same. I'm just as interested in these flashes of insight that come in my mind as I am in these flashes of insight that come through my body. And so what about the soul, though? There's that thing in the middle. I said that Ernest Holmes created this triune diagram for us to understand that we are a nature of three pieces. And if we don't pay attention to any one of the pieces, then that is your weak point, and that's the point that will destabilize you. So he teaches us this. So you've got your spirit, and that's your connection to your etheric body. I want to say etheric because it's that sense around us that's not physical. It's that connection to the divine. We pay attention to that a lot in these teachings, right? In most religions and spirituality teachings, it's always open your third eye or open your crown chakra, and we're good at that. The middle part, the soul, that's the part, it's the unconscious, the subconscious. That what Ernest refers to it, it's where you can impress upon, with your mind, you can impress upon your subconscious a belief over and over and over again, and then have it show up in the world, the body. In fact, that's spiritual mind treatment. We start with a divine idea and we accept it and just know that if we accept it and really believe it, then it will happen. That's where I want to go to with the rest of this talk. There are many of us that know how to use this for good. The whole idea of I can sit down, I can do spiritual mind treatment or affirmative prayer, and I can know the truth and I can create an outcome. I mean, we all watched The Secret, where that one guy created a vision board, my vision board for 2022, sitting right here. It's all the things, meditation, family, dance, all the things that I know that I want for myself. The vision board isn't what makes it happen, you guys. It's the impress of these images on our souls that then, like a seed planted in soil, will begin to germinate and express itself. And we will be attracted to the right conditions, and we will be attracted to the right situations that bring this about. But it's not a magic thing. We don't just wish and go for it. No, I mean, we might wish and go for it, but what we shouldn't do is wish and then sit and wait. I'm going to wish that I finish my graduate degree and then I'll just wait for it to be delivered to me. No, I have to do the work. So we are using this for good. But what I want to talk to you about today, what happens when we use it to our detriment, when we worry? Now, have you been given a lot of things to worry about in the last week? Just a few? Yeah, anybody else see The Handmaid's Tale coming? I cannot help. When the Supreme Court overturned Roe versus Wade, I was like, oh, wake up, Margaret Atwood. This is the prequel to her book. The heck is going on? And then I started being afraid, and then I started worrying, and then I started being more afraid. This is the worries. This is the worry habit. And the worry habit is like using spiritual mind treatment, but upside down, using this imagery of all the negative things, then allowing it to make me afraid. And then I'm imagining the worst outcomes. And I'm like, Natalie, I'm moving to Canada. Coming to you. Because, girl, the problem in that book was they didn't go to Canada soon enough, in my opinion. But I can't just use my I want to say my spiritual gifts for the negative. I mean, it works. The law works. When you feed it scary things, we change our energy and we worry. Let me see. Bad worry is fretting about things you can't do anything about. That's bad worry. And it's focusing on outcomes that you don't want. That's like using spiritual mind treatment for bad. It frightens us and it depresses us and it makes us rehearse the failure that we're scared of. Think about it. If I keep holding in my mind all the things that could happen if it continues this way negatively, I'm rehearsing for the failure that I'm afraid of. And I don't think any of us want that. Anybody that has a child, has been a child, we've all had fears, either monsters or whatever zombie movie we might have watched too late at night, or there's something scary that catches our attention, and then we believe it to be true, and it's something we can't do anything about, and then we, worst case scenario, freak ourselves out. Is this how you want to live? I know I don't want to live that way. I also know that even though it is what it is, like that, they did it. They actually overturned the darn freedom that we thought we were entitled to. Well, I feel like it's something I can do nothing about. And I know that's not really true. I know that I can go vote and make sure my vote counts. I can support organizations that are doing things. But by and large, Charlene Banks, sitting right here in this moment, can't really do anything about that. Or can I? Can I? Now here's the question. There is a ritual that I'm going to show you guys in a nutshell, but then we're going to explore it more on Wednesday night. It is a letting go ritual that is similar to a spiritual mind treatment. It involves imagery specific to the thing that we're worried about. Now, yours may be different than mine. Mine has to do with that Supreme Court justice, but yours might be from 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago with the Uvalde shooting. Oh, do we not have that? That doesn't worry you? Pick up a newspaper. There'll be plenty of things that you can worry about. So I don't think that we'll be short of material on Wednesday night. Once we grab an idea of what it is that worries us, we'll note that when we are in a worry position, what happens to our blood, I've talked to you all month about this, we act as if we're in a fight or flight situation, and that affects our blood pressure, our breathing, our health. Not only that, it makes us imagine things that aren't necessarily going to come true. It rewires our brain for negative behavior. It's just all around not good to sit in worry of things. So this letting go ritual will use imagery specific to the worry that we're worried about. And the process encourages us to focus on the outcomes that we desire. So I said I couldn't do anything about the Supreme Court justice. They did what they did. I mean, maybe I can vote, maybe I can support some organization, but guess what I can also do? I can bring this worry up in this ritual and I can hold it. And what I'm going to guide you guys through, a little short version of this, is I'm going to make it go away in whatever visual imagery that I want. I personally like the idea of putting it in a balloon, a helium balloon. The worry goes in a helium balloon and it floats up, and then I take a pellet gun and shoot it down. because it's just not. Or some people, less violent, will just have it float away. Or other people will imagine writing it on a leaf and placing it in a river and letting it go away. This ritual allows us to take the things we worry about, put them on something in our minds tangibly, and letting it go away. Now, what happens if you let the worry go away? Some of us feel that there's some sort of badge of honor in the worry, that they're doing their part. Some people have an illusion of control, that they're doing their part when they worry. But I submit to you that the worry doesn't do anything. It makes us feel we're in control of it. We're in control of it because we're worried about it. And then we should be honored because we're worried about it. I want to tell you, it's much like the lady who lived in a nice, beautiful bungalow. Think about 500, 600 square feet. Just fine for a nice young lady or old lady. And she's carrying a bundle of twigs around her small house. She makes a circle in the 500, 600 square feet. She has to do it 3 times every day. She has to make this circle through her house with the armful of twigs 3 times every day. Her neighbor just moved in next door and looked in and said, "Hey, Helga," I don't know her name, "what are you doing?" And she says, "Well, I have to keep the bears away, and this keeps the bears away." And she goes through with, and the neighbor says, "We're in the middle of Hawaii. There aren't any bears." And Helga says, "See, it works." She goes through the house. The fact that you worry doesn't mean it's working. The fact that you worry about things that never happened doesn't mean that it's the worry that's keeping them away. You guys might be giggling. Oh, who would do that? Trust me, there are people, even in our teaching, that feel that if they keep in front of their minds everything that's not okay with the world, that somehow that's good. They keep in their minds. Before they can get super happy, they're like, what about global warming, though? That somehow, because they bring up all the problems, that therefore that's helping. All right, so if that's not the right way, because it could end up triggering people, it could diminish the people you're worried about. Worrying about things doesn't fix them. Well, then what does? This ritual I'm going to take you through, where we identify what we worry about, stick it into some mental balloon or write it on a mental leaf and float it down a river. Well, then what else can we do? Well, as you do that, then we're going to take our energy and we're going to focus on what we do want. What do you want? And that will bring our attention to the best case scenario. And we may have to get imaginative. But when you put your focus, or when we put our focus on what we do desire, it makes us feel as though we did something about it. And it's not just our feelings that will improve, because that's already big enough. Studies have shown if you nurture feelings of negativity, your body will show that over time. If you nurture feelings of hope and feelings of support and feelings of what do I really want, your body will also respond. And I have to say another thing. Who's to say that by envisioning a good outcome, who's to say that won't change the outcome? We don't know enough about prayer. We don't know enough about how thoughts change physical things. There's not enough really good evidence. I mean, you and I, we all in this teaching, we have very good evidence that what we think about, we bring about. But it may not have made it into mainstream. But what I submit to you is that it is enough to simply look at the fear that you have. In my example, oh no, the Supreme Court justice did what? And then they're coming after our other freedoms. And then one day it's going to be the armed guards at the airport, like in that terrible dystopian book, The Handmaid's Tale, and we won't be able to leave and just, that's a fear. And it's a worry, and I can't do anything about it. I let that part go. maybe get my BB gun and shoot it out of existence in my mind. And then I think about, what do I want? Well, I want people to become so enraged about it that they move accordingly, that multitudes of us start voting and being active in our convictions in such a way that changes it, that this is simply a moment of fear that we can, you know how you can use fear to scare yourself into action, that this is the thing that scares us into action, and that this, and I don't have details because that's up to God. I don't know how it's going to happen, but everybody's going to get completely activated, and this will change, and it will then be for the better. This is what I'm going to choose for myself because, well, it feels better if I think about that way. I feel that there will be something good that comes out of this, and this will make us even better than we were before, because this was pretty scary. And we realized how close we came, and we came back from I'm writing a book later. Oh, did we come close? But look how we changed it. That's how I choose to see it, because this will not only affect my energy, which affects my body immediately, it may, who knows, have an effect on the entire outcome. So today we are going to know that worry is here for us to address, and we're going to use this positive worry imagery as almost a spiritual mind treatment with pictures that we're going to do to change our energy. And anytime such worries come up, we can use that to inspire ourselves to, again, take that thing that we're worried about and go through the ritual of converting it. It's spiritual alchemy, folks. We have the power to do it. So let's do it together. A short guided example of what we'll do in detail on Wednesday night. By the way, all of this is coming from Dr. Rossman. I mention him a lot because he was my teacher last semester. Dr. Rossman, who has a lot of the guided imagery recordings that go with this book, The Worry Solution. And it's timely as all get out, because we get lots of things to worry about these days. All right, so let me go in and I'll just start the music. Sure, I'll go ahead and share the screen as well. Go ahead and get comfortable. And we'll go into our experiential meditation. And then here's the plan. We'll meditate through. I'll play a song from Leah, and then I'll pray us out. Okay, here we go. So centering in to the body, we allow our bodies to relax. Wherever you are, getting comfortable and closing your eyes if that's comfortable for you. Taking a nice, anchored, deep breath. Allowing. Really connecting into our bodies, starting with our feet. Where are your feet right now? Are they anchored on the floor? Are they crossed in your lap? Where are your ankles right now? Relax them fully. Moving up your leg into the shins, and your knees and your legs, your upper thighs, just relaxing each and every muscle. Turn this down. And in this seat where your sits bone connects with the chair or the cushion, just relaxing into the pelvic area, feeling the rootedness of this chakra. stability that it provides. Relaxing the muscles and going up into the torso, feeling the energy as we breathe in and out. Releasing any tension that might be in our center. Bringing our attention to our arms, our shoulders, our arms, our elbows, our forearms, even our hands. Just relaxed. Letting go of any tension in our arms. And feeling the body going to the neck, the throat, to our jaw. It's nice and unclenched, the tongue floating freely in the mouth. The eyebrows are unfurrowed, they're relaxed. Our scalp, our whole head is simply resting upon our body. Centering into the body, very important. We are body, mind, and soul. Now, in your mind's eye, call forth a stressful, worrisome thing that you feel you can't really control. Whether it's someone else's sickness, someone else's career choices, the state of the environment, the state of the court system. What is it that worries you a bit that you just can't directly control? And in your mind's eye, phrase that in a way that you're not getting rid of the person or the place, but you're getting rid of the worry about it. So in your mind's eye, take what it is that you're worried about. If it's a sick person, I'm worried that this person's going to get sicker. If it's the courts, I'm worried that their decisions are going to get worse. If it's the environment, I'm worried the environment is going to get worse. Take that worry, bring it up in your mind's eye, and then make it go away. That could be easy as stamping a big red X over it, cancel it. Or it could be, like I mentioned, writing it down and letting it float away on a river. Is it breathing the consciousness of that worry into a balloon and making it go away? Or just popping it? That worry is no longer real. Give you a moment to complete the destruction of that worry. Take a nice deep breath, a nice cleansing, releasing breath. And now, in its place, what would we like to have happen? What would be the best possible outcome of that situation? If it's the sick person, do they just get better? If it's the courts? Is it some political action that just changes it? If it's the environment, is it a big movement, an awakening that just changes it? What do you want? Focus on that. Really get a feel for what that feels like. What does it look like? Is there joy in this feeling of what it looks like? What it is that you want? Just hold that in your mind's eye for a moment. And then just ingest it. Put it inside your heart. Just grab that image and just energetically stuff it right into your heart chakra. Just hold it there for safekeeping. You can pull it out and look at it at any time. And so we return our attention to our bodies. We have wiggling fingers and toes to bring us back into the external world. Opening our eyes to a gentle glaze, looking around us with appreciation. We are good, we are okay. All is well, and so it is. Oh, so let me stop sharing. So here is our closing treatment, spiritual mind treatment. So just going within. I am a blessing to the world. There's only one life. There's only one God, only one universal presence that emanates, that kind of just stretches and covers all that is. Some call this the ground of all being, and some call this the infinite presence. Whatever name you call it, I know that it is right here, right now, has never left us, has always been closer to us than our own hands and feet. And just right here, allowing and awaiting on us, its body. We are the body of the divine, and it is up to us. We hold these feelings and these these truisms foremost in our minds, not led astray by fear or worry or grief or anger, that the truth about who we are is that we are one with this presence. That underlying knowledge, as we allow it to bubble up in our consciousness, makes us just know that there is no separation between each other. We don't need to fear each other or come up with isms to force people into separate boxes so that we can judge them and wish ill upon them, because they are us and we are them. There's no separation. And in the presence of the divine are all of the good parts of the divine, even in the midst of what appears to be separate, negative, awful, so-called dis-ease and worry. I know that in the midst of that is a higher pattern. There's something even bigger going on that we might not be able to see in every moment. So it is in those moments when we can't really see it for ourselves that we rely on our spiritual community. We rely on our principles and our practices to know this for us, that even what appears to be horrible and for the worst is in fact and in truth working together for the higher good of all. And so I'm knowing that in this moment, if there's anyone among us who has any sense of disconnection or dis-ease or worry, I know for you right now that God is right where you are. The infinite presence is right there, and it is doing its thing, that all is well. And it is with this vision, this knowingness of our greater truth about ourselves that we are always growing into and becoming more and more of who we are meant to be. It is that trust that I lean into and that I just allow. And as we work together and whatever inspired action comes of this, we know that life is good, is always working on our behalf. And so it is this with gratitude that I simply rest, knowing that the word has been spoken and the answer is always yes. I release my word into the law and say, and so it is. Amen, Ashe. And now our beautiful Layla will take us away with our announcements. I'll share the screen.
Thank you so much to Charlene for a wonderful, wonderful talk, as always. And what a great opportunity for us to transmute and uplift as a community. What a wonderful service we had today. Now is the time to bless the donations that are shared today. At CSL Leesburg, we believe in the law of circulation, so we are a tithing community. The donations shared with our center bless everyone, those who give and those who receive. Your donation helps our center, our CSL home organization, as well as organizations that support our vision of helping a world that works for everyone, which is especially important now. Please take a look at our screen. There are many ways to give. It's easy to find a way that works best for you. You may also go to our website, cslleesburg.org, and click the donate button. We thank you very much for your support, and no matter how you are giving, please take that gift, physically or spiritually, mentally, and place it over your heart and join us in our affirmation of oneness. The presence of spirit within me blesses everyone I meet, tends to heal everything I touch, brings gladness into the lives of everyone I contact. Therefore, I am a blessing to myself, to humankind, and to the day in which I live. A few announcements for our upcoming week. If you're available on Tuesday mornings, please consider joining us for a dream study with Charlene Banks. We just talk about some of our dreams from the week or from any point in time and help each other work through some of the imagery that may have showed up in there. On Wednesday evenings this month, we have a healing with imagery. That's our last Wednesday evening for this month, and we will be doing the ritual that Charlene mentioned in her talk today. As we also have 2 new classes coming up. We have the Spiritual Principles and Practices Foundation class taught by Tamara, and we have the Revealing Wholeness Consciousness class taught by Charlene. The spiritual principles and practices with Tamara will be starting on June 27th, which is just in a couple of days. So be sure to sign up quickly, and it will last for 5 Mondays. So yeah, join us there. We also have Revealing Wholeness coming up with Charlene Banks. That is starting this coming Saturday and will last for 7 Saturdays. So for both of those classes, be sure to jump on that and sign up right away. And we look forward to seeing you there. As we end the sacred time together, let us once again place our hands over our hearts and say, I am love.
I am love.
Now point at someone near you or to our members and guests on the screen and say, you are love.
You are love.
Now put your hands up in the air and say, it's all love.
It's all love.
Love.
Thank you, everyone. If you can stay for a few more minutes, please feel free to join us as we share our pearls, little nuggets of service that spoke to our hearts and minds. And we'd love the opportunity to officially greet any new visitors and to reconnect with any familiar faces. So if you have to leave us, we know that you will have a day filled with love and blessings. And we thank everyone for joining us today and being a part of this service.